A public school in Alabama recently invited a preacher to just come speak to kids about Jesus and lead them in prayer. And you know why I know that? It's because the preacher bragged about it on Facebook. And let me show you what he said here. Here we go. This is John Eklund. He's the guy on the left in the poster below here, in the picture below here. And look at what he says. I told Principal Fuller at Stanhope Elmore High School that I was amazed at his willingness to let us come in and talk about Jesus and recovery in a large public high school. And his response, I've been doing this for 26 years. If I'm going to get in trouble, it might as well be for Jesus. Like, not only are you saying, I can't believe this public school let me preach to the kids, you're literally saying, look, this principal in the picture with me, he's like, yeah, I know it's wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like that's like an arsonist walking around holding the match and waving it in everyone's faces. So this all happened at Stanhope Elmore High School. Again, this is in Alabama. And what happened is on April 12th, that guy, John Eklund, he was the speaker at what is believed to be a mandatory assembly about mental health. And this guy is a licensed clinical social worker, so fine. Maybe he could have talked to the kids about how to deal with their mental health struggles in a way that was universal. But apparently, as he said, he used the opportunity to proselytize and then led students in a group prayer. And again, if you're asking, well, did he go rogue? Did the school know he was going to do all this? According to his Facebook post, the principal knew exactly what he was doing, which is weird. Why would you say that out loud? And also, I want to show you in that picture, in that Facebook post, he didn't just post a picture of him and the principal. He has pictures of the group prayer. So he's giving away what happened. Again, this is not a Christian event before school or after school. As far as we know, this is a mandatory during the school day assembly where this happens. And that is messed up. So that's one thing. So why did they invite this guy? Even though he's a social worker, a licensed clinical social worker, there are a bunch of them. Any one of them could do a good job of explaining dealing with mental health concerns and talking about it. Why did they choose this guy? And the reason, I think, is because he runs a ministry. It's called Recovery Alive. And on the website for Recovery Alive, you could see what it says here. Recovery Alive prioritizes the power of Jesus through the Holy Spirit to raise hope from the dead. Recovery Alive is an organic living program representing a living God. I don't know what any of that mumbo jumbo means, but this guy is very clear that he runs a ministry that prioritizes Jesus over like making sure you get better. You know what I mean? So, but that's why this guy was invited, which is messed up. If he makes clear Christianity is at the center of what he does, why is the school inviting him? Because in no sane world is Jesus a solution to the very real problems that students are facing today. And look, religion may be a way for some kids and adults to cope with their problems, but it is definitely not the way for all people to cope with their problems. And that's why they needed to hire someone who actually knows how to deal with mental health issues for everybody. Here's another problem with this dude. He didn't just make one stop that day. This is a post from Holtville High School, also in the same district. And that's a picture of John Eklund on the left. And look what they say on April 11th. Thank you to John Eklund, founder and CEO of Recovery Alive, for speaking to our students today during our assembly. The Young and Alive group, which is a weird name for a group, will start meetings next Wednesday, whatever. So this guy appeared at a different high school. And I know that high school did not say he preached to the kids or anything, but if I go back to what Eklund posted in his other Facebook post, look at this after he talks about the principal. This morning, during 2 assemblies, hundreds of teenagers flooded Central Court to receive prayer for struggles of value and worth. So he's saying, I did 2 assemblies today, not just this one at this school. And all these kids came to the court to receive prayer. That is messed up. And he even says, thanks for breathing life into the vision of bringing the Christ-centered 12 steps into local public high schools. He's bragging about breaking the law. And all these people are apparently letting him do it, which is messed up. So the Freedom from Religion Foundation has now written a letter to the school district saying, what the hell is going on here? This is what they wrote a couple of weeks ago or something. It is unconstitutional to take away instructional time from students to expose them to religious proselytizing. FFRF attorney Chris Line writes, it is well settled that public schools may not show favoritism towards or coerce belief or participation in religion. And all of that is great. And it turns out that recently the school district wrote them back. Dear Mr. Line, this is May 15th, and I want to jump down right here. A couple things here. As you are probably, I can't highlight, but you could see it. As you're probably aware, Mr. Eklund is a licensed clinical social worker and regularly works as a therapist for teenagers. They're basically saying he's not a preacher. He's a regular guy who's doing a secular job, except we saw his website. We know what he does. We know what he brags about. So that doesn't help. Next thing, student support assemblies of this nature are optional for attendance and voluntary for participation. And he says here, this is the superintendent, it says the assembly was not mandatory. The students who attended were not coerced to attend and had the option not to participate. After conferring with the staff of the school, only one student asked to sit elsewhere during the assembly, and that student was allowed to do so. No one else complained to us. But again, I'll get to what FFRF responds to this in a second. You cannot put the burden of responsibility on students to tell these adults, I don't want to go to this assembly. I want to separate myself from my friends. I don't want to listen to this. Like, that is unfair to ask of students of any age. This letter also says right here, second, the assembly was not a religious assembly. We did other stuff, blah, blah, blah. Based on feedback from the school, the mental health content appeared to be well received by most of the students who attended the program. Then why is the speaker bragging about praying and bringing people to Jesus on his personal Facebook page, right? And then the last bit here. Following the assembly, there was one student complaint indicating that the student did not know attendance was optional. And after receiving this concern, the school administration investigated it. We won't let it happen again, whatever. Basically saying everything you're accusing us of, it never happened. So now FFRF is responding to this letter because they're saying, stop gaslighting us. Here's what FFRF says now. FFRF's complainants, the people who spoke to FFRF, including two parents, said Eklund told students that Jesus Christ set him on his path of redemption and he will save them too. So it was religious. He reportedly offered students money to come down and be prayed over. That's new information. And he also told students to attend church and passed out pamphlets advertising a church. And what about this idea that the school faculty will continue to be reminded of students' rights? Well, guess what? We have concerns that the district will allow evangelists like Eklund to target a captive audience of students in the future. We are calling on the district to stop gaslighting the situation and adopt clear policy disallowing religious assemblies masquerading as secular seminars. Like, yeah, again, the district can say whatever it wants, but the guy who spoke is very clear that he used it as a chance to preach. And if you can't listen to what that guy is saying, we have the screenshots. We know what he said. How come we're not allowed to listen to him explain what happened? Because what that guy, Eklund, is saying and what the school district is saying, these are two very different stories. And it seems like they can't figure out which truth they want to run with. So either one of them is lying or they're both lying or something, but that is messed up. We'll see what happens. We'll see if there's a lawsuit. We'll see if anything gets fixed. But hey, students, if you're at an assembly and someone is doing a religious presentation at your public school, that's a great time to get out your phone and start recording. And if you need to hide your phone so you're only recording audio, do that. It would help a lot. Just saying. All right, gonna stop there for this one. What questions do we have? The word you used about missionaries in the previous story is perfect here also. Hubris. No kidding. Eklund, that preacher counselor dude, is so confident he's not going to get in trouble and that the district's not going to get in trouble. He's openly broadcasting what he did and the fact that it was illegal and all that stuff. Like he's so cocky about what he got away with and he's proud of it. It's very annoying. Like, that's why he should be punished for it. Why the school should be punished for it. Was attendance at the assembly mandatory? Like we said, the school says no. FFRF says, according to the parents we spoke to, everyone thought it was mandatory. And again, if you're not very clear that something is optional, I don't think it's fair to make students decide whether or not they want to go to an assembly. It depends on what the alternatives are if you don't go to the assembly. What type of assembly is it? What if your friends are going? Like, that's the sort of peer pressure you shouldn't put on kids. If you want to do a religious assembly, do it outside the school. Just tell kids, hey, we have a religious message to deal with mental health. It's sponsored by the church. The church is advertising it on their website. All ages are welcome. It's at 7 p.m. Just do that. The school doesn't need to be involved. By the way, religion, if anything, contributes to mental health problems. So, like, don't act like Jesus is the solution here. Because the students who disagree are obviously very free to vocally disagree and not be shamed for it. Again, yeah, don't put the pressure on them to have to do the right thing when it's the adult's job to do the right thing. I just filed a complaint with the state ethics board on therapists for having one trying to preach Christian moral superiority will cure me. Yikes. And then trying to convert me after she was fired. Logan, I don't know what state you're in, but one, I hope you're doing better. Two, I hope you found a better therapist. And three, I would love to personally hear what the state ethics board says to you in response. Email me if you get a response from them. I'd be very curious. I went to a therapist who was concerned that I was an atheist. That was my first and last visit with him. There is a website, by the way. I don't know, Den, maybe you could check this for me. Secular Therapists. And that is a database of qualified therapists all over the country who can actually help you in whatever ways you need. But they're not going to shame you for being an atheist, and they're not going to tell you God is part of the solution. They're actually going to, do what therapists do and help you. So Secular Therapists is the project's name. That's the database. Secular Therapy Project is the group's name. Thanks, Susan. And Den will get up the website in just a little bit here.